Hello, and thanks for watching today's video. I am Tammy Coyne, your holistic alchemist, helping you change pain into possibilities and possibilities into purpose. I upload content on Tuesdays and Thursdays around holistic healing and personal development. And on Saturdays, I do the Holistic Pathway podcast, which is unscripted conversations on mind, body, spirit, and entrepreneurship. You'll find also on this channel. So for today's video, I wanted to revisit the topic of free will versus predestined, and maybe even talk a little bit more about being chosen. So if that interests you, I hope you'll stick around and watch and also comment, reach out, let me know your thoughts. So one thing that I want to say around this topic is nobody knows. Like, really, nobody knows. It seems like there's a lot of people out there who like to give the impression that they know everything. They don't. They may have an idea. They may be getting guidance, spiritual guidance for their own path, and somehow have the idea, ego, that applies to everyone. I would invite you to consider that your path is your own. When we get into this idea of free will versus predestined, I started thinking a little bit about this. How do I really feel about this? What is my take on this? And I realized that my take on it is a little bit the same as my take on evolution versus creation. So, do I believe there is creation? I do. Do I believe that there's evolution? I do. Do I believe that there's free will? I do. Do I believe that there's a predestination? I do. So how does all that fit together? Well, if you're me, hard to say. So I wanted to give you sort of what I have found on my own journey and what I have come to believe. Now, is it true and correct? No idea. Is it true and correct for you? I have no idea. One of the most important things I have found about this journey is being able to tap in to what is true for me. And I encourage all my clients and students that it's really important for them to tap into what is true for them. This camera, does it drive you crazy? It's like, what? Anyway, what is true for you? So when I think of creation, I think that there is creation, and yet I believe there's evolution that happens inside of creation. I have the idea that something needed to be created before it could evolve. You know, it's like which come first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing. And I think where we get into trouble is we are focused on our human mind and what we conceive to be is accurate. Since I went through spiritual awakening, I can guarantee for my path, what I know now is very different than what I knew before, at least on the conscious level. What I have come to learn is that things are not surface level. Things are not always as they seem. And as humans in the human experience, we try really hard to put things in a box. And when they don't go in a box, we get really, I don't know, kind of edgy. But that's sort of the way we've been taught to think. And my invitation to you is to expand your thinking, go beyond those horizons. And sometimes it takes a certain level of life, a certain level of spiritual growth in order to be able to get that. So let's go back to the predetermined versus free will kind of thing. So I feel like there's a predetermination with free will in between. So it's almost kind of like creation, evolution, predestined, free will. Do you see what I'm saying? Does that make any sense? Is it true? I don't know. I have no idea. Now let's think about this thing about people being chosen. Do I really think people are chosen? I'm not sure I believe that. What I do believe, and this is something that I explain to people from my own understanding, is the caterpillar butterfly metaphor analogy. If you think of a caterpillar, not all caterpillars become butterflies. They don't. That may not be their path, may not be their destination. However, some do evolve into butterflies. That doesn't mean the butterfly is any more valuable than the caterpillar, or the caterpillar is any more evolved. Well, yes, one is more evolved than the other. Doesn't mean it's more valuable. Is one chosen over the other? I'm not sure that it is. If you begin to think of the human experience in this way, and I like to consider that all the humans came to the earth as butterflies, and only some of them have chosen to evolve into the butterflies. Did I say that right? Caterpillars to butterflies. As I'm thinking this through as I'm doing the video. As you've figured out, I really don't script videos. So I'm thinking about this. If someone were to ask me this question, and I'm seeing what my human mind has for it, and also any kind of downloads. So I don't see the butterflies necessarily as being chosen, more that the butterfly knew it was coming to become a butterfly before it got here. So for you, what if your higher self, your soul, had made decisions before you arrived as to the experience you were going to have, experiences you were going to have? And the argument often is people will say things like, well, I didn't choose this. I didn't sign up for this. I've even said it myself. My life has been really, really hard. However, as I have ascended on my spiritual path, one of the things that I have recognized is how to change the relationship I've had with all my human experiences, including abuse, including trauma, including death and loss. It wasn't always that way. But as I began to grow and evolve, I began to see the patterns and I began to see the benefits to all of the horrific things I've been through. How could there possibly be benefits? Well, that's a deeper conversation. But there are parts of who I am today that I would not have evolved into. I'm convinced I would not have evolved into without those harsh experiences, because I was called into greater service. I was called into service to be important in creating positive global impact to help the people. to show up for the people. Now, the person I was as a child, the person I was in my 20s, 30s, 40s, did not have the capability to do the kinds of things I do now, to hold space in the way that I do it now. There had to be a considerable amount of things that I walk through in order for me to evolve into that butterfly state. Think about the life of the caterpillar before it becomes a butterfly. Do you think that's easy? Hell no. You are literally going through metamorphosis. And in this process of awakening, if that's where you are, if that's what you're going through, it's excruciating. And I'll tell you something else I learned. All of the pain that I ever experienced before my awakening, I thought was incredibly painful until the awakening. And I've mentioned this on other videos before. It's like I thought clinical depression was the darkest hole I had ever been in until I experienced Dark Night of the Soul. And let me tell you, the one thing I feel confident to say, no matter what you think you know, there's so much beyond that. And we get fixated on what is happening in our human experience and believe that's all there is because that's all we can see. Predestined or free will? Now, I mentioned this in the other video, I'm pretty sure. On my path, I have felt that I was called for something, call it predestined. And I felt like I had free will within that boundary until I was ignoring what I was called to do. And keep in mind, when I say called, I again am not saying this person is chosen over this person. Like if you're looking at things from a religious context, these people get into heaven, these people don't. Is that true? I can't believe that. That's not my belief system at all. And I'd probably call bullshit on it, at least where it pertains to me. Now, if you're someone who believes in that, fantastic. If you're someone who doesn't, fantastic. It is important for your human experience to determine what is right for you. Is free will true? I don't know. Is it true for you? Is predestiny true? I don't know. Is it true for you? Are you chosen? I don't know. Is it true for you? Are you here to awaken or are you here to stay asleep? I don't know. I see the caterpillars of the world are those who are here to remain asleep this lifetime, and that's okay. And it isn't necessarily your job or my job to wake them up. They don't need to be awakened. They will awaken if and when it is their time to awaken. And again, I see that less about being chosen and more about what they chose before they incarnated on this earth. What do you think? What do you think? This is all about you figuring out what is right for you. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what somebody else on YouTube says. It doesn't matter what the church says or your family says or your job says or your school says or your country says. What do you say? What do you say for you? What feels right? And I'm not talking about what you've been programmed through society to believe. At your core, what do you feel? What do you think? What reason are you here? For a good part of my life, I don't know that I could have answered that. But through deep, deep, deep layers of healing and very strong commitment to growth, plus the awakening that happened, I've come to believe a lot of things about my journey. And there are times where I feel really committed to what I believe in, and then it starts to shift. The one thing I have committed to is I really don't play in the matrix anymore. The matrix being the 3D human experience. I really don't play in it anymore. I have very little connection with the way things are done in the world. Now, I still live in modern society. I still have bills. I still need to pay my bills, and I still need to eat and do those kinds of things. But my life is very selective. It's very selective on how I earn money. It's very selective on how and who I interact and why and when I interact. I am guided by spirit and have lived fully by that since probably 2016 is when I stopped questioning so much. And I stopped being a seeker and stepped into the higher parts of my being and what I'm here to do and what I'm here to share. If you are feeling like I have so many times, like you're in a dark hole and someone has greased the sides and you can't get out. Or the other one I've said many times is I walked through a door and now I was in this hallway and there were no doors and all the doorknobs had been removed. Yeah. So that's where I think some people get the idea that there's no free will. And yet, even in that scenario, you have a choice, I think, in that scenario, to keep moving forward, to sit down, to lie down, to disintegrate, to cry, to bang your head on the wall, to do any number of things that you can figure out. Or I've recognized that my life has been a series of puzzles. So I start to look. Is this a little bit like an escape room where you're looking for clues, you're looking for a way out? So I kept doing that. And I knew that I was here to do a certain thing. It felt strong in my heart. So how do I get up and take one more step every day? Well, I had to have something that's called my why so big that I would get out of bed every day. And I guarantee you the why of doing it wasn't because it felt like a choice. The why I was doing it was because of you. You, the person who watches the videos that I do, you, the person that needs to hear what I've learned to help you on your journey. I keep you in my mind. I keep you in my heart all day, every day. And I say, what if I put down my own struggles for a bit and I focus on this person who I don't know who is having trouble? What if I don't show up today and that was the one day that they needed someone to show up? What if the one thing that I was too afraid to say is the one thing they needed to hear to unlock the next part of their path? What if? And so I think about you, and I think about, is there something I can do to help them? I don't even know who they are. I don't even know where they are. But I also believe that many of us, all of us, have a frequency in our voice. And there are certain people that need to hear that frequency to help them navigate their journey. And if I stop using my voice, they don't hear what they need from me. Is it true? I don't know, but it gets me out of bed every day. It's helped me climb out of some of the darkest holes in my life, knowing that I could show up and maybe just for a minute make a difference in somebody's life. Now, if you look at my videos on my channel, I'm not breaking any records. They're not millions of views. If you found my video, it was spirit directed. I'm not here for everybody. You're not here for everybody. But who are you here for? If you could step out of your pain for just a little bit, is it possible that you're here to show up and shine for someone else? Maybe. Let me know what you think. This is Tammy Coyne, your holistic alchemist, helping you change pain into possibilities and possibilities into purpose. I am in the process of opening the Inner Alchemist Academy for people like us, either spiritual seekers who are looking for holistic healing and personal development, or all the way into spiritual entrepreneurship. So the Inner Alchemist Academy is where I bring all of us together so we can have these kinds of discussions. We can support each other on this journey and step into our higher work, if that's what you believe. So in the description of the show or whatever video, I will have a link to schedule a consultation if you feel like you'd like to have a one-on-one consultation with me to see if I'm a good fit to help you on your journey, to see if we're a good fit to work together. I also share how to reach me in the event that you have a question that you would like me to answer on the channel. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.